Earlier today, I was at a supermarket, and before I went, I haven't gone to a grocery store in a few weeks. I had all of these negative preconceptions. I thought it was going to be very ugly. I thought people were going to be toppling over each other to get a little bit of food. I thought most of the food was going to be gone. I thought it was going to be very chaotic, and I just assumed it was going to be the worst case scenario. And there was a paper that came out from Martin Seligman recently about the need for us maintaining positive mindsets, particularly in times like these where things are pretty scary out there. And there's no getting around the fact that society has responded in a very strong way against this disease. We're all doing our best to get by, and things are very stressful. Now, that being said, we need to stay positive. And the issue is that our brains have been hardwired through evolution to always assume worst case scenario. I walked into the supermarket today assuming that it was going to be sparse and there was going to be a lot of people and everyone's going to be fighting over scarce resources, and it was going to be a matter of just like take whatever you can get. I watched the TV show The Walking Dead, and I just keep having this idea that the rest of the world while I'm inside my house is like The Walking Dead now, and it just isn't. And if you watch the news all day on TV where you've got people non-stop telling you how many people have died yesterday and today and last week and last month from the coronavirus, it's very scary. And you listen about shortages of toilet paper and other necessities like rice, and you would assume that these supermarkets must be barren. And, you just get yourself so worked up. And in Martin Seligman's paper, he says how to approach these kinds of situations, which is very often our brains will assume this worst case scenario. And so a first step in this exercise is to explicitly tell yourself, what is the worst case scenario? And for me, worst case scenario is I go to the supermarket and there's no food, there's nothing. I just wasted a bunch of time and ran the risk of getting infected by the coronavirus because I went in public for a little bit, and it was all for nothing. The best case scenario is that I go to the supermarket and it's perfectly clean, there's no people, I can get all the food I want, there's no shortages of anything, and I don't get infected. So that's the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. And then what often happens is that there is a realistic or most realistic scenario, which is somewhere in between. And so I went to the supermarket today, and there were hand wipes everywhere. People were very quiet and very keeping to themselves, and there were a few aisles that were empty, which honestly is surprising to me, but you could still get fresh fruit and potatoes and all these other produce things, meat, lettuce, carrots, all this stuff was on the shelves, and it was completely against what I was worrying about. And so, it was a very good thing that I did today of just going out to the supermarket and getting a chance to disprove all these negative preconceptions that I have about the outside world right now, because we are trapped, and we're needing to find ways to get by and to maintain our own mental health during these challenging times. And it is tough and it is scary, there's no getting around that, but I think this really underlines something that I wanted to get at, which is trust but verify. When you listen to all these news reports and they have these credible people on the news who've got PhDs or MDs or whatever, and they're telling you how serious this disease is and how we're fighting it, and all these things about how to stay safe and protect yourself and avoid all social contact within 6 feet, you just assume like the rest of the world must be really ugly and terrible right now. And that's your brain just zooming in on the default most bad perspective. And what I am encouraging all of you watching right now to do is to do Martin Seligman's exercise and to first think, what is the best case scenario? What is the best case scenario that the world looks like? And I think for a lot of people, that means that the world looks like what it was like before the coronavirus started, this whole epidemic thing. And know that it's probably somewhere in between. You know, life is not the same as it was before, but life is also not as bad as you were thinking. Life is most likely somewhere in between. And in this new world, there is going to be change, and the world has changed from what it used to be to what it is now. And the defining moments of life are how you respond and adapt to change. And change is painful. Change will always hurt. And change will make you stronger. Change is what makes life meaningful. And that is what I hope I can convey to you all watching this video. It is very hard, and we're getting through this together. And we've got a lot of very smart, hardworking people who want to make this world a better place. We're working diligently around the clock right now to get vaccines and get screening kits and get help to people who need it. And we are getting through this together day by day. And all these notions we have of there being mass shortages and The Walking Dead, hopefully you don't watch that show if you haven't already, is you can get that all out of your mind, because I want you to know that the world is not as bad as you think, and it's not perfect. Obviously, it's never been perfect, but it's somewhere in between. And in this new world that we find ourselves in, that is where we will adapt and we will thrive, and we're going to get through this together. Thank you all for watching. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Let me know if you have any questions, and take care.